record button. All right, so what we're going to talk about briefly today is the quiz for LAS 258, which is due tomorrow. Or no, not due tomorrow. The quiz for LAS 203, which is due tomorrow. 258 is due the 22nd. And then, you can't see me. And then we are going to do the assignment for LAS 203, which is the virtual blog or the blog post, and then briefly go over the Museum Virtual Exchange Museum Informatics course in terms of schedule of events, which is what Alexandra and I worked out already. So let me see if I can go ahead and just get rid of my background for a minute. Maybe that'll help with the lighting. And then see none. All right, so let's see if this works. I'm not sure if, oh man, maybe it is I'm in my kitchen.
It's probably because you're in front of a light source.
Yep, the window's right back there.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe that's better. Not that you want to see me. All right, so let me share my screen. First off, let's go over the quizzes because there were some questions about the last quiz. Yeah, all right, I'm going to share my screen in terms of about getting assignments or getting test questions right, wrong, whatever. And what I need to make sure is that students know that all quiz questions are drawn from the practice quizzes within the weekly videos and lectures and stuff like that come up for the midterm. So I know I'm acting distracted here, and it's because I'm trying to find my right screen. Here we go. So let me share this. So as an example, let me just go to, can you see my Organization of Information course screen? Okay, very good. So let's just go to the home page, all right? Both classes for both sections of LAS 203 and the Museum Informatics class is set up in the same way so that when you go and click on the course and you go to the home page, if you click on the date, that's your one-stop shop for all course content. So for example, if I go to weeks, I don't know, week 8, let's see if I have a practice quiz there. Museum data content standards. Can you guys see that? Okay, very good. So if I go down to the lectures, there's a PDF of this lecture. There's just a video of the same lecture, but then here's the practice quiz. So if you click on the practice quiz, like what I do, this is my view because I'm in the teacher view. This is what I see and what you should see too when you open up your course. But look at what I get to do. So I can see everybody in the class because when I uploaded this quiz into this week, everybody's name within this class is annotated, right? So I can view right here who has viewed the test, who has not viewed the practice test. And I won't click on any individual names, and for how long. I'll click on my name. So look, I clicked on the quiz, but I only tested it to make sure that the quiz functioned, but I didn't take any of the test questions. So there's no insights or Canvas analytics for me to see, right? Because I didn't do anything. So I'm not going to pick on anybody or anything like that, but some students are really good at reviewing all the quizzes and the quiz questions, and some are not. And that's okay because these quizzes are not, they're not required, they're optional. So my point is that let me go to student view. When you go to your quiz, any test question that's uploaded on any quiz for this week's 5 through 8 come directly from the practice test questions. And you have a 1 hour time limit. Some people need 2, that's fine. When you press this big blue begin button, it's you're committed. So I've had a few students say, well, I didn't know, or I accidentally clicked on the big blue begin button. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. All right. So it's clear as day. Once you hit the begin button, it's you are committed. So let me leave student view. Do you guys have any questions on the quizzes? All right. So if you do, just shout out. And it's fine. Let's go over the assignment for that's due tomorrow. Research and write your draft blog post. So the Word document is what's required to be uploaded for your draft blog post. I know, Jenny, you haven't taken the LAS 203 yet, but you will. And if students ask you questions, they don't need to view this video to be able to write their blog post. All the information is right here. And it's also on the ASL Google site. So this is your first rough draft to be able to craft a narrative before you upload your assignment. After you do your corrections, which I provide to you via your Word document onto the Hidden Heritage Collections blog post. Here is where a lot of students get things wrong, or points deducted. So the way I have the criteria on the rubric set up is in the order of the information that comes up when you edit and create your blog on the WordPress website. So I say title and author because the title is first, then the blog, or then your name, and then your image comes up. So I've kind of constructed the rubric so that when you're on WordPress, you're going through the checklist, the rubric, just like you would be constructing your blog post. Your image, make sure you size your image accordingly. It's in your image caption accordingly, meaning that I'm not too picky on the image, but it's size. But I do say that, let me go here, and I can put it here in the canvas too, that when you go to your, this is not the research part, this is the upload part. It's the next assignment. Image align left, and landscape or portrait DPI. That's where it comes up for the size. That's you're required for. But for this assignment, to upload in your Hidden Heritage Collection blog, but the size of your image right now, just make sure that you have your image as part of your assignments within the WordPress document, because I'm trying to train you in terms of this is how you have to upload it into WordPress. Also, make sure that your image is captioned. Remember, you are working at St. John's University and constructing this blog, but you did not get your image from St. John's University, even if you're working on the Andres collection. You got it from your academic service learning community partner. So points going to be deducted if I see an image or a watermark embedded into your image that says St. John's. That's your academic service learning community partner. Text length, 350 words to 500 words, max. That does not include your references, which is a minimum of 5. Peer-reviewed resources, it can be an interview, but no Wikipedia or anything like that. And I say that Wikipedia is not a peer-reviewed resource. Make sure you have your image watermarked. So the biggest part where students get wrong in this part of the assignment is that the text length is too long and your image isn't watermarked appropriately. quality of writing and proofreading. I look at grammar, punctuation, spelling. And when I say look at, I am looking at the Chicago Citation Manual, 17th edition, in terms of your formatting. For example, what does the Chicago Citation Manual say about the number of spaces you put after a period when ending a sentence? It's very specific in there. I want you to look at that. Your grammar and spelling, that's why we have citation manuals. They are very specific within the 17th edition of the Chicago Citation Manual. Chapter 15 is where you're getting your Chicago formatting from. But if you look in the manual, which you have total access to online, it gives you specific criteria on sentence structure, punctuation, review, use of semicolons, colons, things like that. Why am I specific and so hard on that? Because when you are within this profession of library and information science, there are two different avenues, overarching avenues or umbrellas within which you can begin your occupation or your career. That's either administrative or non-administrative. Basically, you're going to see a tenured position, right? So especially if you're working within academia, if you select a job that says administrative, you're not going to be required to write, maybe present once a year at professional conferences, but mainly what you're doing is your hands-on tasks pertaining to your job, whatever that is. If, however, you wish to go into academia and you choose a tenure position as a master's degree student working within any part of academia, as a library and information science professional, you're going to be required to write, to publish, to go to conferences. And mostly what I see is that if you go into the archives and records management field, if you publish online, for example, a lot of those resources, especially in archives and records management, the core literature or core journals, which you will be publishing to, are written in Chicago. They request, especially if you're in history and you're working public history or something, you're going to have to write Chicago in the Chicago format. And so to be able to get accepted for a professional, to get published in a professional journal or to present at a conference, you're going to have to know how to write. If you want to keep your job, you're going to have to be able to publish. So how do you publish? This is part of what I'm trying to teach you. All right. So you're learning now how to use the citation manual, specifically Chicago within this class, LAS 203. And then in any archives and records management class that you take with me, because the core literature of the field pertaining to archives and records management, the journals that you find will be published. We'll be asking you to cite your references using Chicago. Now, not necessarily Chicago author date, which is what I require for this class, but with Chicago. So I'm trying to get you engaged with the citation manuals now so that you're successful later on. So moving on, citations. Cites all data obtained from other sources using Chicago author date citation style. And this is where students most generally get the deduction of 4 points. And it's 4 points max if you do perfect on any one section of this rubric. But right off the bat, I go right to the references within your papers that you submit. And if I see that there's no author date citation style used and it's just totally wrong and you didn't take the time to do it, minus 4 points. And you're not going to be able to publish until you correct that. So please just try to learn that now. Content. If you want an excellent, this is the excellent column. Title and narrative incorporate content, tone, and language appropriate for a scholarly academic excellence. Go back to the citation manual. this is how this means. What I'm reading here is your language active or is it passive, right? So when you use an active language, you're not going to be writing in the past tense form, has, have, had, stuff like that. You're going to use an active voice, right? You're going to be able to format your papers correctly. I'm going to see a title page and I'm going to see your narrative setup. You're not going to have a lot of mistakes within the paper. You're going to have 1-inch margins. It's going to be a professionally submitted paper, just like, for example, if you would submit to a conference. And then demonstrates core ASL values. I give you examples on how to implement a vExchange construct of what I'm asking here. Let me just show you what that, I'm on my edited page right now. Oops, sorry. Let me go here. So when you go to write, if you go onto the HHC Google Sites web page, research and write your draft blog post, there's going to be data that you can look at. There's links that are provided to you on how to write an academic blog and read the information representation through the vExchange lens of transparency. Because what that paper will help you do is understand, well, what does it mean to, what is vExchange lens of transparency? What is information representation? I hope that's going to help you. So demonstrating core ASL values. So a lot of students too, what they'll do, which I highly recommend, is they'll cite the mission of the university. So there's the web page for that. Make sure you cite it correctly, the mission and the core values. So that's a good place to start with integrating the mission of the university into your blog. Because why? ALA COA, our accrediting agency, does state that while the 64 accredited programs within North America and in London are required to demonstrate student achievement of all ALA core competencies, it is understood that those core competencies are crosswalked to program learning goals, and those learning goals are going to vary slightly and because they're going to be couched within the mission of the university. So you're being indoctrinated into the mission of the university through your writing here. And that's what ALA COA, the Committee on Accreditation, is expecting to see from us. So basically, they are looking at your demonstrated achievement through this blog post, or at least this narrative that you're writing, of ALA core competency number 3, which is crosswalk to DLIS learning goal 3. And they're looking at how then I teach learning goal number 3 and how the mission of the university is reflected through the assignments that I give you. So all the stuff has a reason. And I bring this up now because we are submitting a report, which we have to do annually to ALA COA, because we have to report annually where we are with our programming and any updates that we do. So your stuff never resides in a box. Your writing never resides in a box. Because you are in an ALA accredited program, this stuff is really important, because you might think that since, or maybe you think, some people do anyway, think that since we were last accredited in 2018 and we're not going to be reaccredited for 7 years from 2018, it doesn't mean that ALA COA isn't looking at a program at all. They're looking at it annually at the end of every academic year. They're looking at a program and seeing what kind of evidence, which I have to provide every year to Dr. Jim Vorbeck, so he can report to ALA COA what we're doing, like course artifacts. So I provide graded course artifacts that I submit to you and that you work off of. And I will be for this class too, because I have to every year. I will be submitting to Jim evidence of demonstrated student achievement, to good and when not so good, and the comments that I give back to you so that he can submit them to ALA COA. So there's a reason for everything that you do here, okay? And because this LAS 203 is a core course, and because we had reported to ALA COA that every student that comes through our program here within the Division of Library and Information Science does participate in academic service learning, they are very interested, air quotes, in seeing what you guys do. So this is why I am so adamant about, please do good. I want you to look good to ALA COA, and I'm submitting your stuff to external partners, not only external community partners, but to our external reporting agency. So the stuff doesn't just sit in a box. And as a side note, the reason why you're using Chicago author date formatting, I was allowing students when I first started teaching this course in 2012 and people were submitting their blogs, I would allow footnotes and endnotes or author dates formatting. Shortly thereafter, WordPress said, hey, if you want to use footnotes or endnotes, we're going to charge you $25 for every student that does that type of formatting because it's costing us to maintain our site. And so I said, yeah, we're just using author date because there's no way I'm having a student, nor am I going to pay the $25 per blog post for you guys to be able to use footnotes and endnotes. So there is a reason then, it's financial, for why I selected the author date citation formatting that you guys need to use. Okay, questions about the blog for the written narrative. I think that's all. All right, LAS 258 briefly. So Alexandra and I.
Can I jump in with one question? So sorry, just about the image and the watermarking process. Is there a method that's described in anywhere about how to do that, or is that just something we can troubleshoot on our own?
You can troubleshoot on your own, but I do have something here. Have you been to the ASL site?
Yeah, I have it up. I might have missed it though.
Go to step 6, research and write your blog post. Go to the tutorial under step 3. It says watermark image of your, I might as well just go ahead and share this.
How to watermark using PowerPoint. Okay, I will look through that and see it. I see it right here.
Yep. So and this is why I ask people to attend these sessions. Because I get the same question every semester, and it's okay. That's one reason why you're here. So under step 6, research and write your draft blog post, you scroll down. Here's the research part, how to write an academic blog. Are you seeing my screen? You should be seeing a big green. All right. Information representation through the Vincentian lens of transparency. I did my research when I first came here to St. John's, and I was part of the Vincentian Mission Institute, also where we went to France and we traveled through the footsteps of St. Vincent de Paul, where we started in the southern part of France and all the way up to Paris, where he was and where he is not buried, but he's enshrined, I guess, today. And so this is where my thoughts came from for the Vincentian lens of transparency. And then to your question specifically, when you write your blog post, your draft should contain the following. And I call it a draft because it's a draft before you upload it to the site. Title, author, watermarked image with your image of your object with a caption. So how to watermark using PowerPoint. How do you watermark using Photoshop? And to tell you the truth, Word, you can just go into Word. And it'll do the same thing too. But if you don't like Word and you don't have Photoshop, PowerPoint, it's as easy as pie, and I say that. But I don't know how you do with following videos. So if you don't like the video that Reba uploaded here for YouTube on how to watermark using PowerPoint, just YouTube it. Just put in a Google and YouTube how to watermark using a PowerPoint. Because the thing I can't remember is I did ask Reba, one of my old GAs, hey, could you go ahead and do this on Mac and PC? But I think she only had a Mac at the time. So if you have a PC, the explanation might be a little different.
No, that's fine. And I appreciate that. the image, the watermark image that we use, I pulled up the examples, Reba's and Elena's. I think that they each used a distinct watermark. So is
Okay.
that
Yeah.
our choice?
I'm
The
sorry,
mark-
wait, say that one more time.
Is the mark that we use our choice? So
It's your choice, meaning whatever's tied to your academic service learning community partner.
okay, so it could be the insignia of the organization.
Yeah, so who's your organization?
Materials for the Arts NYC.
So you got to email them and say, hey, do you have a watermark that you would rather me use? If not, just use their insignia that they have on their homepage. That
Got it. Thank you.
yeah. Or you can do a Google for the for your academic service learning community partner. Because usually that type of stuff is copyrighted and published in terms of what is the watermark, for example, for St. John's University or
Right.
the Center for Migration Studies. So usually there's a C with a circle below the watermark too, if it's copyrighted. So you want to make sure then that that watermark is on your, like, displayed across your image so that you can attribute copyright to your organization. Otherwise, it's like you're stealing, right? So we got to really, really be mindful. Even though this blog is for educational purposes only, it is incumbent upon us as information professionals to make sure that we adhere to copyright. And if you have a question about copyright, go and review the presentation, the copyright presentation that I gave in the first few weeks of class. And you should be fine because I talk about copyright and images in that presentation.
Yep, I've been through that one. Thank you very much.
I know you have. All right,
Thanks so much.
oh, of course. So let me go to the virtual exchange part of the Museum Informatics course really quick. And let me scroll up to all right, the schedule. This is what Alexandra's sending out to her Göttingen students for, wait, can you guys, wait, stop screen share. Let me start again because it was just paused. Let me see if I can bring up this email because you all should know what the dates are. And I'm going to be posting this to, here we go, to the calendar today. There is a link, a specific link. It's a Zoom link. So here's the information. Can you guys see this email? All right. So we're using Alexandra's Zoom room. I'll make sure that this is posted and for every synchronous activity that takes place starting Friday, March 25th at noon Eastern Standard Time. So even though we're going to be having our first kickoff session number 1 starts at noon for us, but we go into daylight savings time a week earlier than Berlin, Germany does. So this is Alexandra's informational time sessions for her Göttingen students. It's 5 o'clock, but well, 5 for them and then 7:30, right? 5 to 7:30 for them, but it's going to be noon for us. And then I got to double check this with her though. It could be 6 o'clock, but that's why she put the worldtimebuddy.com here, because then there's a difference in time to where it starts at noon for us, but it's 6 o'clock for them. And then Germany switches to daylight savings time. And it's 6 o'clock. Yeah, so this is right. From 6 to 8, German students are meeting with us. And then it's for us, it's, well, 90 minutes, right? So from an hour and a half, we say 6 to 8 or noon to 2 in case students have questions. So they're 90-minute sessions. But what you're going to be doing during, all right, this is a meet and greet kickoff session 1, March 25th, noon Eastern Standard Time. Session 2 on April 1st, it's on Friday. You're going to be meeting with the design, Tanya, she is our graphic designer person She's going to be working with you and giving you elements so that you can publish online or create a publication, and you can purchase a paper copy too if you want, on questions you might have about design elements and how to go about designing your museum brochure. So you're working with a graphic designer, Tanya. So she'll be here on session 2. On session 3, we're also going to be having, I think it's session 3, a museum curator from Germany that has that was in a class last year too, and she's really good at how do you create an exhibit with pieces from disparate parts of the world and make them flow through a common theme, which is what you guys are doing for the Museum Informatics class and demonstrating through your museum brochure. Session 4, this is where you guys are not meeting in groups on a specific time on Friday, which is Fridays at noon, but we're going to be setting out a schedule of times to where you can meet with Alexandra and I. So Alexandra and I are going to be in Zoom for 2 hours. And each of you who are grouped into groups at this time, usually it's 9 groups of 3 to 4 students, you're going to be meeting with us so that you can ask us specific questions about the construction of your museum brochure, because by this time you're already meeting within your groups and you're working on, all right, what's the common theme of our museum brochure? How are we going to work this together so that we come up with 3 pages, your title page, a description of the museum artifacts, and then references. And then session 5, I forget what we're doing here, but I promise I'll get it out of my head because it's in our team's brochure. Oh yeah, I really forgot. I'll have to come back to that. But then finally, and I see I'm a little over. For the last session, you guys, I know I remember between the session 5 and session 6, you guys are going to be working on the Padlet page in your groups, but then together, you're going to be organizing the chapters. So each group of 3 to 4 students has a chapter they're creating with a title page. And then the second page is a storyboard or a brief description of how your objects link together, and then the references. And then all of you are uploading your museum brochures into Padlet by this time, by session 5, because before session 6, you've got to complete your Padlet assignments to where all of you need to come up with an agreement. So like all 9 groups in terms of the order of the chapters. What chapters first, second, third, fourth, right? Based on theme, right? So it will unfold in terms of the themes, what themes you guys are using as you guys start to select your museum objects and create your narratives and figure out, well, how are we going to put this together thematically? And then you're presenting your final projects at noon Eastern Standard Time here for the States, but in Göttingen, it's going to be 6 p.m. there. You're presenting your findings, because Alexandra and I and Tanya, the graphic designer, could be there too. We need to know that, especially the graphic designer, how you want your museum brochure to look. So it's not up to us. So when the graphic designer talks to you and you talk to her about the order of your chapters, this is what we need to know. So what order do you want your museum brochure to look? Because we want you to be happy with the final product, right? And then that's when Tanya's going to give you some final advice about like the look of your museum brochure, like with the graphic design elements all set up and everything like that. So I don't know what Tanya's going to be offering this semester in terms of her creativity in terms of editorial content for design elements that she wishes for you to incorporate into your individual book chapters, which she then brings all together and brings those same graphic design elements together throughout all chapters. So it's one book for your virtual museum brochure exhibit. All right, are there questions on that?
I have one question. So I've worked with graphic designers before, and it kind of helps to know like that interview process, or like there are websites that I would look up to kind of coach the way that I tell them what I was looking for. Do you think that if I found something like that and posted it in chat, that that would be helpful to the other students? Or
turn it around.
okay.
Like flip it. I don't know. I'm forgetting Tanya's got, that's just her business. She has a graphic design business in Germany. I could provide you with her website in terms of previous publications she's designed. But normally what happened last year is Tanya introduced, like she gave a choice of 16 different design elements. And she said, all right, these are what you guys can use for your design elements. There's 16 of them. And you could like watermark them or embed them somehow, some way, or use them as part of your like background for the title of your museum brochure. That's what she would do. And then she would work with you in terms of like, did you mean for this to be a watermarked design element, or did you want this front and center? Is that what you're talking about, or no?
No, it is. I was just wondering, like, because I'm just thinking ahead, because I'm struggling a little bit with my LibGuide and talking about like design and whatnot. The design is largely left up to me, so that's kind of hard to do over like online virtually. So I was just wondering the best way to communicate with Tanya about what it is what that communication process was going to look like. That's okay.
All. So what I would recommend to you at this point right now is Trello, Trello. It's a free account that you can create.
I've used it.
All right. So we have not added Tanya to Trello yet, but let me think about that and pose that question to Alexandra and Tanya to see the communication process. So just to make sure, then you want to make sure that you're communicating to your group based upon the experiences you're going through now about the design.
Yeah, I'm also asking on Tanya's behalf as well, because I've been in her position and I can't imagine like putting a whole bunch of things together like that. So that is really cool that she does that. Yeah. I mean, that's really cool. So I was also thinking about, you know, the best way that I could, the students can put their information forward that is easiest for her to work with. I mean, because then it's easy for everybody. So that's the whole thing I was asking.
We'll ask.
Okay.
Last time we did this, she was part of. That could be why I'm having a blur on what we did for session number 5. It's because she was there, right?
Okay.
In terms of answering student questions and stuff about design elements and things like that, but we don't have to do that within the synchronous environment. Let me talk with Alexandra and see if we can't set up a page in Trello for that very reason, because Tanya might have a way that she works or would like to work with you guys also based upon what she does with her clientele. But that is a good question, because usually when she works with clientele, it's with like an editor, right? Of a book or something, not with an entire group of students. Where there's like 40 students, right? So that's a really good question. I can ask.
Okay.
All right, so that's it for now. I'm going to, as soon as I get the video, as soon as I'm done here, I'm not going to move from my spot. I'm going to upload this onto, make sure Canvas processes this first, then upload it to YouTube. And so as YouTube takes 30 minutes normally, based upon the length of this conversation, which is now 40 minutes, to at least process a link for me, knowing that the captions won't be available, but I'll have a link to send you with by 1:30. I can have that sent. I'll email it to you, and then I'm going to post it to the Canvas pages, the video to the Canvas pages. All right.
Okay.
All right. Very good. It's a pleasure seeing you guys
All
today.
right. You
All right.
too.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.